Kyle Van Noy fires back at this anonymous NFL assistant that said Roquan needs to get in better shape. We also hear from Shiloh Sanders, teammate of LaJohntay Wester, who said if you can guard LaJohntay, you can guard anyone. And we're also discussing Derrick Henry's 2,000-yard bet and whether he can accomplish that this season. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So I haven't talked about this situation at all. I know the NFL assistant saying that Roquan needs to get in shape's a little bit older news, and I kind of brush over those anonymous things. But the fact that Kyle Van Noy fired back at him, I felt like it's something worth talking about. So anyway, this anonymous NFL assistant reported to Jeremy Fowler that he felt like Roquan looked sluggish and needs to get in better shape. Also, a lot of fans last year were saying that Roquan was moving a lot slower. I don't think that it was due to shape. I really honestly believe that there were some guys not playing their assignments as well, and Roquan was stuck thinking whether he needs to go help or just, not being comfortable and not being free to play in his own position. And hopefully, guys like Trenton Simpson can play their assignment a lot more consistently this year so that Roquan's comfortable enough to just go after the ball and do his thing and not have to make sure that he's helping out the guy next to him. And regardless of whether you think Roquan's out of shape or slower or sluggish or not, I really can't stand anonymous NFL GMs or assistants or these guys that won't put their name out there but want to run to an ESPN reporter to get a story out or make a comment on a player, but they won't put their name behind it. I mean, why even make the comment then? You know what I mean? That's like making a fake profile and spamming some comments on somebody just to hate. Like it just doesn't solve anything. It's almost like hurt people. If you really have something to say and you have a critique of somebody's game, you should be able to put your name behind it. You know what I mean? Like it's fair to talk about. If that's how you genuinely feel, you can say that. Everyone's has a right to their opinion, but put your name behind it. Don't stay anonymous. It's pretty cowardly. But anyway, Kyle Van Noy also agrees, and he fired back at this anonymous NFL assistant. And he says, "Hey, Jay Fowler, tell that NFL assistant to eat a, because Agent Zero is on some and you are a B for hiding. Put your name on it." I love this from Kyle Van Noy. I echo this times 1,000. This is exactly how I feel. Like, say whatever you want to say, but put your name behind it. You know what I mean? Don't hide behind this layer of a reporter who's going to keep you anonymous. It almost seems like it's made up for clicks, potentially, or somebody is just truly a coward. I mean, I don't know who said this, but you should put your name behind it. So I'm glad Kyle Van Noy spoke out, not only just to call this person out and bring some publicity to it, but also just to defend a teammate. You know what I mean? I feel like Roquan Smith is still one of the best players on the Ravens defense. And this report makes it seem like he's a burden to the team or something. I mean, this guy helps us tremendously. And Kyle Van Noy knows that. He knows how much Roquan means. And I'm sure it means a lot to Roquan to have a teammate, going out there and fighting a little battle, because, Roquan's not going to speak up about it most likely. Maybe they'll ask him in a press conference at training camp or something. But regardless, online, Kyle Van Noy's out there fighting a little battle for him. And it's good when teammates stick up for other teammates. So I support Kyle Van Noy in these words 1,000%. And I do not want anonymous quotes to be reported anymore. Moving on to LaJohntay Wester. I saw this clip from his teammate in Colorado, Shiloh Sanders, and he said, if you can guard LaJohntay, you can guard anyone.
I always want to go against LaJohntay, because if you can guard LaJohntay, you can guard anyone.
I feel like him and Jimmy, very similar with the way they release.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very fast off the ball.
LaJohntay's a little smaller, and it's going to be harder to guard someone smaller.
Definitely, yeah.
You just got to, say if you get a lot of moves on the line, got to put hands on.
Now, I'm fully aware that Shiloh Sanders is not, one of the elite secondary players in the NFL. And I'm sure, even on the Ravens, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, Jair Alexander probably have a different opinion. They feel like they could probably cover LaJohntay Wester. But regardless, having a teammate at Colorado giving you that type of praise, saying you're the toughest person to cover, you're the best test of a defender. You know, they want to go against LaJohntay because he's so small and quick. I think that does mean something. And you could just throw on the tape. I mean, LaJohntay is a tough cover, and he's an elite punt returner. So I don't know how much he's going to play on offense this season. I think that could be a developing role. But I do think we see a ton of him at punt returner right away, and you're going to see that quickness, that explosiveness, that home run hitting ability, and he's really going to flip the field for us this year on multiple punts. And I do think he can get in on offense. He could stretch the field. He could be a little gadget guy on some plays. You know, I know we got Zay Flowers who can do a lot of that as well, so I know you're not going to see LaJohntay a ton unless there's some injuries, but he could develop as the years go into a receiver that does consistently get on the field, and he's going to be on the active roster because he's going to be the starting punt returner. So I'm excited for LaJohntay this year. He's been making some noise throughout rookie minicamp, mandatory minicamp. There was a name that kept popping up, a name that people were consistently excited about. And I echo that, man. I definitely am very high on LaJohntay Wester. I think it was an incredible value pick in the 6th round to find a guy of that talent and a guy that's going to make an impact. You know, someone that you could plug in as your starting punt returner right away that's explosive as he is not easy to find. We haven't had one of those guys in a long time. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was this Derrick Henry 2,000-yard bet. So he was on the Dan Patrick show, and Dan Patrick, I guess, found out that Derrick Henry's a big Adam Sandler fan and said that if he gets 2,000 rushing yards this season, that he will get into an Adam Sandler movie. And then Adam Sandler actually FaceTimed Derrick Henry. I think Dan Patrick set that up, but Adam Sandler FaceTimed Derrick Henry and confirmed the bet. He said 2,000 yards and you are in an Adam Sandler movie.
2,000 yards plus this year gets you not only in the movie, but we have a nice dinner together.
And Derrick Henry agreed. He seemed fired up about it. And it got me thinking, can he get 2,000 yards, which he's only done once before? Almost did it last year, though. And I think that's a big point in this. You know, if this was Derrick Henry on the Titans, who was, you know, lowering his yardage as the years went, I don't think that that's possible because everyone knows that they were running with Derrick Henry, and it was a lot easier to slow that down. Not that he was having bad seasons by any means, but he wasn't having 1,900-yard seasons, and he did that last year with the Ravens, but that's because Lamar Jackson is going to distract the defense a lot more than anyone at Tennessee. So I do think Derrick Henry could get 2,000 yards, but only if the Ravens commit to that type of run volume. And I do think they could go off like last year again. I mean, there's no reason that they can't both have just as successful seasons as they did last year. It was a historic year, though. I mean, it was an all-time offensive season, not only from a franchise perspective, but just in NFL history. So it's not easy to just do that every single year. But I do think he could get 2,000 yards if they just commit to it, you know, and not that that's the team's goal by any means, but if they're just running Derrick Henry a lot, you know, let's say we got a lot of leads and we're just, you know, trying to drain the clock and just win the game. And like you run a lot more than you might have last year, he definitely could get 2,000 yards. I mean, he almost did it last year. And I don't feel like we were forcing the run. If anything, there were multiple games where I was like, we should be running Derrick Henry more. So if you ran Derrick Henry a little more, I do think it's very, very possible for him to get 2,000 yards. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Derrick Henry will get 2,000 rushing yards this year and get in an Adam Sandler movie, or is that kind of a pipe dream and does it even matter really? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything that we talked about. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.